Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadidamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. If you consider yourself a healer, light worker, spiritual seeker, or someone who is here to serve others, today's message is especially for you. Because I believe there is a point on your spiritual path when helping others is no longer enough. Instead, we are called to do our own work again and again. And so this episode is a clarion call to light workers. Let's begin. Namaste and welcome to the Spiritual Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Alexandra Savithri Amba, Reiki Master, Vedic Healing Master and Priestess, and Spiritual Guide. Each week I share here wisdom, practices, and insights to help you awaken your spiritual power, manifest your dreams, and ultimately fulfill your unique divine purpose. So today's episode is something that came to me really clearly, and I wrote down 2 words only. I wrote down clarion call. So this came to me in meditation this morning, and I knew what this episode was going to be about. I knew what clarion call meant. This is something I feel I must say. This is a clarion call to light workers to walk their walk, to talk their talk. And the way we do this is by working on ourselves. So I believe right now we are living in a time in which there is a resurgence of spiritual energy on the planet and a remembrance for those of us who are called to be healers and light workers. And what that carries with it is also a deep level of integrity and self-development. So what I mean by this is you can accumulate all of the modalities that you want and fill your resume with techniques, but this is never really enough, because we as light workers must work on ourselves. Now, I've met yoga teachers who never do any yoga. They are so busy teaching yoga, but they don't have a personal practice. I have met Reiki healers who never receive Reiki. I have met chiropractors who never receive bodywork. And the thing is that most of us who are doing healing work have our hearts expanded, and we want to be of service. So we want to help people. And this often comes at the expense of us not working on ourselves. One of the ways we work on ourselves is by receiving body work. This is just one of the ways. And it's a very important way. So it doesn't mean you must receive body work within your own discipline, but it does mean that you are becoming more and more aware of what you need in every given moment. So a Reiki practitioner understands that sometimes her body needs Reiki, sometimes she needs acupuncture. Sometimes she needs massage. Sometimes she needs to go into patterns in her own life. So, as I just said, receiving body work is only one of the ways we clear issues and reset our energy fields. We have a responsibility to not only understand and work in the methods that we are drawn to, but also to apply these methods, these techniques, these modalities to our own system. So everything that I use in my practice, I also do on myself. And this is what the clarion call means, to pay attention to what you need to do to clear your field, to pay attention to your own emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual state, so you can, yes, be of greater service to other people, but also so that you can have the clarity, grace, peace to move ahead in your own path. Because I believe that the presence that you carry as a healer, as a light worker, as a body worker, as a yoga teacher is often more powerful than the method you are teaching or doing or practicing. I remember once hearing a story. I just thought of this. And I often segue a little bit because these stories come to me. I remember hearing a story of a body worker who had gone into retirement. And while he was in retirement, he started doing a lot of meditation. And someone came to him and wanted his bodywork service. He hadn't done it in a while. And he said, well, I'm not really practicing anymore, and the person said, please, I really need this. So he said, okay. So he agreed to work on this person. And he worked on the person, and whatever condition it was the person came to him with was cleared, and cleared in a really kind of miraculous way. I don't know if it cleared very quickly or dramatically, but it was profound for the recipient of healing. And then the recipient told other people and other people and other people, and word started to spread. So this man who was in retirement started offering his services again. But here's the interesting thing. What he concluded was it didn't matter what modality he was doing. It didn't matter what he was doing with his hands. It didn't matter the method he was using. It didn't even matter if he moved his hands at all. What mattered was the amount of light coming through his body. So the only way we can get to the point where great amounts of light come through us is to work on ourselves. And this means, again, having a comprehensive practice, yes. So doing all of the components of a full practice, meditation, chanting, yoga, Reiki, breathing, and so forth, which I talk about a lot, but also receiving body work. Please do not get to the point where you say, I'm too busy to receive body work. I have been to healers and said to them, how often do you get whatever? And they say, oh no, I haven't had any treatment for a long time. So I don't really want to receive treatment from someone like that. I want them to be clear and peaceful and grounded and in tune. And that doesn't mean that their work is no longer valid, but I want to receive body work from someone who is also working on themselves. And sometimes what this means is we become very selective about the body workers we go to. So people feel when they receive healing, they feel the light that you are carrying. They feel, in essence, it's your level of embodiment. How much are you embodying the practice, whatever this practice is that you are doing? They feel our peace. They feel our connection. Or they feel places where we are still fragmented. So this work of being a healer or a light worker is not about achieving perfection, because actually the truth is that none of us is perfect and or finished. I certainly am not. The spiritual path is a lifelong journey, but it does require us to be more honest with ourselves and to discern what is amiss in our lives. Where are we not nurturing ourselves? Where are we shortchanging ourselves? So do we need more meditation? Do we need more Reiki, either giving it to ourselves or receiving it? Prayer, exercise, journaling, spiritual study. So the studying of spiritual texts. Where are we not working on ourselves? I do some work where I help people clear patterns from their beings. I've done this for many, many years in a couple different modalities, many sessions with my Reiki master, where we would look at patterns that we carry from lifetime to lifetime that may be blocking us. And then we do a practice where these patterns actually get released. And it's so interesting to see what we actually manifest after clearing patterns that we've been carrying. We clear patterns with Reiki also, so with body work also. So our growth doesn't happen because we call ourselves healers or light workers, or because we have, 50 different classes that we've taken. It happens because we are willing and open and ready to keep evolving. And I would say the most effective healers I have known are those who are committed students. In other words, they never stop learning. My guru in India was a brilliant teacher. He was a Sanskrit scholar, a Zen master, a Reiki master, a yoga master, a Vedic healing master, which is what he taught me, a whole practice called Vedic healing. And he was also a student. He remained so sweetly innocent, and he was a student of many different modalities and was always learning. He continued to learn and grow and work on himself. as did my Reiki master. We were always experimenting with new and amazing healing modalities to clear energetic patterns in our systems. So what I really understand is that the clearer the instrument, the more light that can flow through it. Just like the story of that healer I told you about who came out of retirement and concluded that it wasn't the method he was doing. It was the same method he had done before he had gone into retirement and started meditating a lot. He said it was the amount of light that was coming through his hands. And it didn't matter where his hands went on the body. As an aside, I'll just say this, because this came to mind. When you first learn Reiki, there's a sequence of hand positions you work on. But I always tell people in class, you could actually do Reiki and just touch one hand position. However, you don't do that as a beginner. You go through all the hand positions. You touch all the different areas of the body. But after a while, you could just touch one or two positions and create the same or have the same effect created. I said in another podcast episode, I had a session with a chiropractor once, and he held only a couple of contact points, and I went very far away, drifted into a deep, deep healing space. And when I came back, he was sitting off to the side reading a book, and he said something like, "Oh, I was waiting for you to come back," or "Oh, you're back." And I said, "Oh, how long was that?" Because I had lost all sense of time also. And it was a deep, deep space. So he was not physically touching my body the whole time. And these kind of interesting experiences happen with healing work. Sometimes I'm working on someone and I have my hands on the top of the head and the person says, "I felt this presence throughout my entire body and it felt like you were down at my feet at the same time." So many interesting things happen in these healing sessions, but the goal of the sessions is for the practitioner to become more clear always, so that she can be of service to the person she's working on in a higher way. And that happens first by her being of service to herself. And that means, back to my clarion call, to be really aware of receiving body work and doing your practice yourself. So hopefully this is a little bit of an inspiration to you. You can ask yourself, what is my being asking me to work on right now? What issues? What fears? What problems? What would it look like if I started attending to those issues, fears, problems? And in what way can I do that? What would it look like if I received regular massage or Reiki or acupuncture or chiropractic? Because the world is never going to have perfect light workers. It's impossible. But the world needs us to be sincere. May we continue to grow, to heal, and to be very, very aware and connected to source energy. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Om Sai Ram. Jai Guruji. Om Amrite Shwariye Namaha. Hare Krishna. Om Namah Shivaya.